as Linda said, I'm Kayla. I work for Associated Bank. I would definitely say we have a wide variety of different types of internships. Obviously, being in the financial services industry, a lot of our internships do tend to be geared towards that space. So accounting internships, finance, treasury management. We do offer also internships in marketing, human resources, and IT as well. So really kind of a wide variety that you can find within our company, I guess.
Sara Oettinger, I'm the manager of talent acquisition at Imperial Supplies. We're a national distribution company we're a subsidiary of W.W. Grainger. So corporate office is here in Green Bay, right next to the library. We recently started an internship program more formally. Historically, it was more summer work opportunities, and so we formalized it to be a 12-week internship program on the operations side of the business. So we have supply chain, marketing, human resources, and pricing. We have 4 interns currently. We plan to run those fall semester and spring semester, 12 weeks for up to 20 hours a week, and we can work around student schedules but budget-wise, each intern is allotted up to 20 hours per week. So we're a little bit newer at this. This is our first round of having interns, but I think that's kind of the exciting part, because we're looking for the interns that we select to tell us what they want to learn about, and then we're matching them up with mentors in the associated department, and those mentors are also people who are looking for leadership development opportunities, so it's really a win-win for our organization.
I'm Jordan Lorenz. I work with Dental City. So our internship program is really in sales. So if you're looking to get into sales, our internship program is probably the right one for you. We handle it where our sales reps go about their day, calling our customers. They cold call, they call current customers, they bring in new accounts, and that's exactly what we train our interns to do. So you really operate just like an everyday sales rep would operate. If you get a new account, that account is yours, and you handle them for the foreseeable future. We've been running our internship program probably for 3.5, 4 years now, and we look to bring 8 to 10 interns on each year. So currently we have a few internship openings that start in October, and then again we'll have more interns available in January. So if any of those times work out for you, definitely take a look.
Hi everybody, my name is Sara Campillo and I am the campus recruiter for Schneider. I've been with the organization for 10 years and I run our intern program as well as own every college and university relationship nationwide for Schneider. We hire close to anywhere between like 60 to 80 interns every summer across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And if you think about how a business runs, we basically hire an intern in every one of those areas except for a driver. So Schneider, as you might not know, if you don't know already, is one of the largest transportation companies in the United States. So the big orange trucks that you see in the freeway, that is us. But interns obviously normally do not have CDLs, and we really can't provide an internship that way. So our interns are in every other area, whether it be customer service, operations, finance, accounting, marketing, sales, HR, logistics, supply chain, warehouse operations, even our maintenance division, mechanical engineering, tech, innovation, architecture, interior design, you name it, we have it. So we have a really robust program that offers not only your work opportunities this summer, but also professional development opportunities as well that include executive brown bags, a senior service day, an internal career path event for you guys to be able to network with individuals, as well as other touch points throughout the summer and panels too. So it's a great program to be a part of. We usually hire all of our interns during the summer time frame, but we will have onesie-twosies that start during the academic year and transition to the summer full time. So as of right now, we actually have one of those, an academic year-round intern that is in our operations field and in intermodal operations here in Green Bay. But most of our interns are hired for summer. We start the hiring process. Our requisitions or job openings will be posted in October for this coming summer.
All right, I'm Katie Lapp. I'm with Ameriprise. I'm also a campus recruiter. Our internship program offers a little bit, maybe something in addition to working in the position. We have about 80 to 85% of the time working in the job itself. The rest of the time would be working on capstone projects with the other interns. We have an executive speaker series that we partner with our corporate financial office in Minneapolis. So we have executives from both sides, auto and home as well as financial. We also have community service days. It's really an opportunity to work with the other interns that may be working in a different department, try to give you an overall insurance experience. So Green Bay right now, this year, we are actively recruiting for our 2019 summer. We have 9 openings. What we're looking for is actuarial, communications. We have one data analytics, finance, and then also one that's called policyholder services, which is a project-based internship that deals specifically with customer service, working with our customers. And then also, if anybody's in finance, our Minneapolis is our corporate headquarters for finance, and they have internships, leadership development series, and that goes beyond an internship. And annually, we do about between 70 and 80 internships. So that is what we're looking for overall, and I think we're good.
One thing I'd like for you to all address before the students open up is we frequently get asked kind of your candidate profile. So do you hire sophomores? Do you look at freshmen? Do you prefer the senior? Do you really want the junior? And if you don't have a preference, indicate that so that students can have an idea of kind of that array of what you are looking at in terms of a candidate. Because I know all of you are different. Whoever would like to offer that additional insight, please do.
I can start with that. We are looking for juniors. So we're looking for December 19 or May 2020 graduates.
For us to be considered for our intern program, you have to have completed your freshman year of college. You can apply as a freshman, but we just need to verify that you have completed that freshman year before you do begin. You also have to have a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher, as well as a major relevant to the business in regards to that. Most of our internships, we look across the United States, but I will have to say, like from a college perspective, but finance and accounting internships usually are year long, and so our finance and accounting areas are local as well as our IT areas, so they're going to be more those students that can be in the Green Bay area.
We're open to any grade level of intern and also any major. We have former kindergarten teachers, biology majors, dentistry students that all sell dental supplies for us. So we don't really restrict by major, and we don't really restrict by age either. So it's more up to, we only work Monday through Friday, and we only work 8 to 5. So we want to make sure that you get enough hours as far as being able to have an income for yourselves, and also being able to kind of immerse yourself a little bit into the job. So it's more about, does your schedule fit, more so than how old you are, or what grade you're in, or what your major is.
I would say we're not as restrictive on grade or status. I think our 4 interns currently are junior and senior status, because throughout the interview process, one thing that we looked for, being a newer program, is someone who has a good understanding of what they want to accomplish and someone who has defined goals. We had an idea in mind of what professional development opportunities and who mentors might be and things like that. But if someone is looking for a very general work experience where you're rotating through a lot of departments to get just general exposure and do a lot of, I guess, observation and things like that, that would probably not be the right type of program. We're looking for people who have more well-defined goals in mind so that we can work with that person and set them up with the right mentor and design projects around that. So I don't know, depending on, someone's work experience, I think a freshman student could certainly have that. But as a part of the interview process, those are the types of things we're talking about because we want it to be a good experience for the mentor that is serving the business as well as the student.
And I'll just kind of go back a little. I skipped this in the beginning, but our internships at Associated Bank are also 12-week internships over the summer, and we'll start recruiting for those. We'll have the jobs posted in November, and then start the recruitment process from there. Just a heads up. But as far as what types of individuals we'll be looking for internships, typically we will be looking for sophomores, juniors, and then incoming seniors as well for the internships. And then usually looking for people who do have, business backgrounds is a big thing. Having that business background, which will really be very helpful and beneficial for you in whichever internship you're in. Whether it's marketing, HR, finance, accounting, and then really we try to find an internship or match you to an internship that kind of goes with whichever degree program or major that you're going for. So.
All right, so I'm going to casually always look at the audience and see who's got questions. Raise your hand, go for it. If not, then I'm going to offer a question that I've got in hand. Yes, go ahead.
I have lots of questions.
Start off with one and then we'll see if we've got others.
I guess the one question that every intern probably always asks, is it for school credit paid or volunteer?
Paid, and we'll provide you whatever you need for school credit. Ours is budgeted at $14 an hour. Be transparent with that.
Ours is paid, and it depends on the role, the internship, and the level you are in school from your payment or what you get from an hourly perspective, but also we will do college credit.
Pretty much the same there. We do provide college credit if needed, and then usually our internships range anywhere from $15 to $20 an hour.
Ours is paid as well, and you can do it for college credit.
Ours are paid. It is full-time through the summer, 11-week program, and that ranges from $17 to $20 an hour.
And I will just add to tag onto that, on campus, you do internship credit through the department where your major is located, and there is a coordinator for that department, and you can check that listing on the Career Services website to tell you who you need to touch base with. We happen to have Patty Albers, who is the coordinator for the Coffin School of Business and Accounting here today. And then the last thing that I will say in terms of getting credit, in anticipation, you would need a position description, typically to take to that faculty member for them to review to determine if credit could be awarded. Okay. And if there's other question, everybody got a hand? Go ahead. Yep.
In regards to how often would you say internships can get to full time? What are the qualities of those interns that you really look for to see if they are applicable?
Great question. Yeah, so I think for a big goal for us at Associated Bank is we want to be able to convert you as an intern into a full-time employee, or at least into one of our specialized development programs when you graduate afterwards. So definitely a lot of the opportunities. I think there's a lot of, I would say that there's a lot of interns that have been converted full-time, and a lot of people who are senior leaders in the company that were once interns that are now still with the organization. So definitely a lot of opportunity there. As far as qualities, I think really having that initiative, asking questions, always raising your hand, asking to take on more. I think that's what's going to really stand you out as an intern, instead of maybe somebody who just is kind of waiting for them, your manager to come to you with the next step. Ask the question right away, see how you can get involved, reach out to other people in the bank to kind of hear about their career path. So really just taking that initiative.
Yeah, I think ours. That's part of the reason we allow interns to keep their accounts that they acquire, is because our goal is to turn them into full-time employees at some point. And we've had a lot of success doing that. And as far as standing out, I really think it's just, for us, a big thing is how do you integrate into our culture? Is that is that something you want to be a part of every single day? And that's why the internship program is so important to us, because you get to test us out. You get to see, is this what is right for you long term, not just the job, but the place of business itself. So I think the more you integrate into the culture, the more you really embrace everything that we have to offer, the better it's going to be for you in the long run.
For us at Schneider, that is the end goal of our internship program, is to get you in full-time post-graduation. So we will start working that process through the summer. If you are going to be senior or going to be graduating within that next academic year, even if it's not in the area that you're interning in, if you are successful through your internship, we will try to work with you to get you into an opportunity at Schneider. It all just depends on budget and headcount. For us, for a successful intern, I mean, someone that's a go-getter, a team player, innovative, someone that is easily self-taught and doesn't need to be micromanaged, and just really represents Schneider's core values in the Schneider way. That is a really big part of who we are, and that is instilled in really every associate that works for Schneider. That's how we, look at the individuals that are most successful.
Our goal is to turn our interns into full-time workers as well. In Green Bay, out of our 14 interns from last summer, we kept, I believe, 9. We sent them home with virtual setups so they continue work during school, since they were across the country. Of course, if they're in the area, they have the choice to come to the office, and work 5-10 hours a week while they're still in school. So then hopefully when they graduate, they'll come back and they haven't missed a step. So.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal of any organization, is to expose students to their culture and to convert to full-time team members. I don't have any data to support that, given that we're a newer program, but to me, someone who would stand out would be very, very inquisitive. I use that word a lot because I think there's a difference between being inquisitive and attempting to learn and bring your ideas versus more of a one-sided approach where you expect the information to be presented to you in more of a traditional lecture format like you would in school. And so someone that seeks out the knowledge and again just has that inquisitive nature about how they go about networking and making connections internally, someone with very high emotional intelligence in the way that they approach how they ask questions to people who have been doing the job. There's just subtle differences in communication. Why do you do that way? Versus, can you help me understand, have you considered doing it this way? So those are the types of things that we're doing a lot of training on in our internship program, because I think sometimes, I don't know, the formality of communication in a corporate environment is, there's just different expectations around tone and how you approach more experienced people. So.
Sure.
Now a second, we'll get to you after her, okay? Go ahead. Yeah.
My question is regarding the interview process. What differences, if any, are there between the internship interview and your just general employee interview?
Yeah, so I think that it kind of depends. It's kind of a case-by-case basis with departments. For our internships, it typically is going to be a 30-minute phone interview with myself initially, for me to kind of just get to know you, get to know your background, share more information about Associated Bank as well as the program. Usually from there is a second interview with the hiring manager for whichever area you're in. And usually it's just those 2 interviews. Some departments may, depending on how many candidates and things like that we have, they may add in an additional interview before making that final selection. But typically it's just the 2 for the internships. As far as when you're a full-time employee, that's really where it kind of differs between the departments. Every interview that you go through at Associated Bank will have an initial phone interview with one of our talent acquisition consultants for that respective business line. And then usually there's going to be an interview with the hiring manager. Sometimes it might just go straight into that in-person interview with that hiring manager. Other times it could be a second phone interview with the hiring manager, and then from there like a third in-person interview with maybe a group of people. It just kind of depends on, again, the position, the departments, and then, the level of the role. Some very senior roles may require multiple interviews, whereas maybe something you're just coming right out of college, or you're going into maybe like a teller role or something like that, it won't be as strenuous as a process.
I would echo that as well. I think the biggest difference when I am doing the initial phone interviews for intern candidates is that I don't have the same expectation around, if you've ever heard the term behavioral interviewing, and the tell me about a time and describe a situation. You may hear a few of those from us, but really we're trying to get to know what your goals are and what you're looking for out of an internship to make sure there's a fit. Whereas with professional and full-time roles, we're going to dig probably quite a bit more. I don't want to give the impression that we're not going to be selective with interns, but the questions that are being asked to identify whether there's a good fit for a learning opportunity that's temporary, strenuous is a good word. Certainly not as strenuous. I will say though that the level of preparedness on the intern's part should still be there. What do you know about Imperial? Why are you interested in this particular internship? What are you looking to learn? Those are all still important aspects of the interview.
For us, the process is pretty much the same. I think the biggest difference is when we meet students at career fairs that are looking to potentially join us for an internship, we offer them, before we even get to the interview process, an opportunity to take a tour. So they come into our facility, meet a bunch of the employees, spend time with our sales reps for a half an hour to 45 minutes, and just really understand what the job is before they have to go and sit through a formal interview, be asked a bunch of questions, and come fully prepared. So it gives you an opportunity to come in, sit down and watch it, make sure it's something that you want to pursue. And then if it is, you can tell us, and then we'll set up a more formal interview process where you actually come all nice, dressed up, and we ask you the real questions. But you also can formulate questions for yourself after what you just saw in that whole tour process. So that's and everybody that does interview with us goes through that process, but it's more as part of the interview, whereas like an intern has the opportunity to do that before with no commitment at all to an interview or anything like that. So that'd be the main difference for ours.
For ours, every role really starts off with, no matter what, a phone interview. So we initially have that for interns. You would have it with me for about a half an hour. If it was a full-time opportunity, it just depends on the role, with a different corporate recruiter that we have on our team. And then it depends. So like any type of IT or engineering role, you're probably going to have some sort of technical screen before that next step hiring manager position, or hiring manager interview. And then most roles have hiring manager interviews. So whether it be face-to-face or over the phone, depending on where you're located and where the role is located. We also do interviews via Skype as well. In case you can't make it to our location, we'll work around those accommodations. And also if you're studying abroad, I will set up a Skype interview for an initial internship interview if you're abroad, so you don't lose out on that opportunity. And then we would set up the Skype with our hiring leaders as well. So it just really depends on the role and what the hiring manager wants to do. But usually it's always like a phone interview followed by some sort of hiring manager interview, panel interview, structured interview. But we also do the behavioral based interview training, and like it's been stated, you just want to make sure you come into the interview no matter what role, understanding the organization and why you're applying to that specific position. So I think about, I've interviewed students that have told me that they want to land a job at Nike or Amazon or other companies, and it's like, then why are you interviewing with us? Or for example, they will go, oh yeah, you guys are the electric company, and that's just like, sorry. So just really understand who you're applying for and why you're applying for that role.
I pretty much the same process. Start with a phone screen, and then I guess it depends on the if it's a technical position. If it's actuary, IT, you're going to have an additional step to go over those technical areas. But in general, it's going to be that 30-minute phone screen for intern or regular position, and then face-to-face or over the phone with the hiring leader. So it is very different. It's not really behavioral based. It's going to be more of what you're looking for, and what your goals are. So.
Let me just add before we take the next question, if you're on campus and you do schedule a phone interview and you want some seclusion and some privacy, we do offer up the interview rooms we have in career services if they're not being used that day by an employer. You would just need to contact career services, ask to use one of the interview rooms, provide the date and time, and we can let you know if it can be accommodated. I do also encourage students just to kind of check the services to make sure your cellular service works, because we don't have landlines in those interview rooms. You can do the same thing if you want that privacy for a Skype interview room. You can do the same thing. And you can also reserve a project room in the general access lab to do a Skype interview. Okay? So just want to share that. All right, then you have a question, another question.
Yeah, so I'm really looking to get into HR, but I don't have much experience outside of the classroom. What do you guys look as far as experience level? Are you looking for brand new students or somebody that maybe has had an internship already or outside experience?
I think it really all depends on the role, and I mean, if you're building out your resume, I think about like an athlete, for example, right? They don't have work experience. They don't have, sometimes because they're a full-time athlete and they're full-time students. So how do you balance it? How do you showcase that? And if you were, I mean, put down your projects that you've been doing at school, put down your coursework if you're looking to have some, fillers in your resume that way. But it's really about how you present and answer those questions to be successful. If you don't have the work experience, if you don't have the student org experience, present the question. One of the questions we always ask is, tell me about a time that you, showed exceptional customer service. And sometimes students get hung up on that because they go, well, I've never worked with a customer. I'm not talking about a customer. It could be your peer. It could be your professor. It could be Linda in career services. I mean, that's a customer. A customer isn't defined by somebody that comes into a store and has to buy something. It is defined by who you work with and who you support and who you work on from a project standpoint. So it really depends on how you answer those questions, but build out your resume that way into showing the types of projects you worked on from a class perspective.
Yeah, I would echo that. The project piece, I think, helps us to understand the way that you're thinking about the concepts that you're learning about in class. I see a lot of resumes with just a list of every class that's been taken, and when I say, well, tell me more about some of the things you're learning and hope to apply in the internship, it's like, and then people get uncomfortable with the silence and feel unprepared to ask that question. I mean, you have a syllabus for each of these classes, and if you're looking at HR specifically, I'm sure that you're talking through employment law. You have some of that basic knowledge and ideas of those concepts that should show up in your resume versus just listing the name of the course, because sometimes I
don't know what that means.
I don't remember.
Well, yeah. You don't have to put like BUAD 254, like no one knows what those abbreviations mean. And in all honesty, if you're just like a general business major, you don't have to list all your business classes. We know the core classes that you guys are taking, but if you're directing towards specific like HR, the employment law, business law, compliance, those specific or specialized HR courses that or behavior, whatever it may be, that's what you're going to want to put on there.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. As you're an intern, I don't expect you to have all the experience in the world. It's just not, that's not reasonable for us to request that, because it's probably not there. But, get involved at school. I know here there's SHRM, if HR specific, so get involved in that. See if there's an opportunity for you to take a leadership role in one of your student orgs. That's a big thing. Ask your professors. I know when I was here at UW Green Bay, I got involved with a lot of research with my professors. Research, I would say, isn't probably my thing, but the research projects that were presented to me were very relatable to what I wanted to do in HR down the road. So try to find those different types of opportunities that are going to give you experience. And just like these other two just said, with list the project work, because a lot of the projects that you guys do are really, really valuable, and you learn a lot of information that is very applicable to the real world. So when you are answering those types of questions, really take some of that experience and bring it into your answers, I would say.
The other thing I would add too, sorry, this is a passionate topic. No, that's okay. Two things I would just add is one, if you're a freshman, right? The question always comes up about what if I don't have any college experience? What about my high school experience? Should I have that on my resume? As you're a freshman, yes, because that's what you have. That's the experience you have. You completed your freshman year now. Okay, let's focus on your freshman year of college for your sophomore, junior, your college years now that we're going into that. So that would be one thing I wanted to say. The other thing is too, if you're thinking, I want an HR internship or a finance internship or an accounting internship, but I have no experience in those fields, but I have a waitressing job. I have a busser position. I, volunteer at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Put that on there. You don't understand how important those soft skills are for the role that you're applying, because we can teach you the technical side, right? There's soft skills that we can help you grow with and develop with, but sometimes they're not there. So those are the opportunities where you can really showcase those soft skills in those opportunities. If you were a finance major or looking for a finance intern and your waitress, you handled money on a daily basis with tips and check cards and credit cards and those types of things. I mean, that's still part of the role. So make sure to highlight those in those experiences as well. Don't defer
undersell them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Don't hesitate putting them out there.
To register.
Yeah.
You processed cash transactions. You were responsible for the balance of your drawer at the end of your shift. There's people opening and closing stores at the mall, and when I get them on the phone and they actually start talking about what they're doing compared to what they have on their resume, they are severely underselling what they're doing on their resume.
Or they won't even put it on there, and then when we ask them questions about their experiences, they start talking about those experiences.
I didn't think it was relevant.
Yeah, I didn't think it was relevant. I'm like, well, to me as a recruiter, you don't put that on there and you start talking about it, then I question, why didn't you put it on there?
Yeah.
Or why did, is there a bad relationship? Is there a reason why you left that we don't want to know about? So just think about that ahead of time.
We may have had a few bad phone interviews.
Yeah, just
Kayla, you want to add anything to that?
I don't think I have anything additional.
Sorry, that was passionate.
That's fine. I agree.
Okay.
I want to just add for the students that, they're talking about research for working with a professor. I can speak for the School of Business that we are really going to push on getting our professors published, and so there a lot of them are doing research that you may not be aware of. So if you're interested in that and you're thinking, I don't know anybody doing it, just ask. I know Heather Clark's got a big research with Schneider.
Yeah.
She's got a huge project on with Schneider, and so a lot of them do. You just don't know, or don't know about it. So ask.
Yeah.
And if it's not in the Cochran School of Business, it could be in other areas.
I just know our department.
Correct.
I'm sure they
Yeah.
all are.
And as an FYI, you can get credit for being a research assistant, and you can get credit for being a teaching assistant in an upper level course, particularly if you do well in it. Approach the faculty member about being a teaching assistant. If that helps before you're doing an internship. Okay.
And I would just also add with the research, with my experience, it taught me a lot of different things. It taught me the technical piece, but then, there was opportunities like posters in the rotunda, if you're aware of what that is, just I went to a couple other conferences and things like that. You work on your presentation skills, your soft skills. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to take technical work and make it make sense to people who might not understand that language. So you build a lot of different skills that way that you might not think of.
I'm looking for some more hands, other questions that you have. Yes?
This is kind of off topic, but how hard would it be for a student that is not from Green Bay to live at home and do an internship online and only be in office like 1 or 2 days a week? Would that be in any way possible?
I'll just be really candid and say not for us at this point.
I think it depends. Like, we have opportunities across the United States, so we might look at another opportunity that's closer to your home so you can come into the office. If you were an intern for us while you were at school, let's say you were successful the whole academic year, yes, we would think about maybe having you work remotely during the summer. We do that with some of our interns right now. For example, my intern that reports to me currently works from Whitewater and is at Whitewater currently, but is from the Green Bay area, interned with us this past summer, was successful, so we gave him that chance to work remotely.
Our internship program is definitely in the office.
But I would say with that, think about where you'd like to be for the summer. Target some organizations, maybe through alumni or other ways to see if they offer internships. If you need assistance with housing, you can live on campus in the summer to do an internship and not be an enrolled student, okay, in a course.
Yep.
There are other ways that you can kind of accommodate depending upon what your need is, okay? Other questions people might have? So I'm going to just kind of ask a couple of questions that we get from students. Sometimes they're sitting here, they're not certain if they're ready for an internship, right? So for you, when you're thinking about it, and you're all going to be at job fairs coming up and soon, so how do you want these students to engage with you? When they see that face and go, yep, Jordan was there, I saw Katie, she was in this program, can you help bridge that gap for us? Because sometimes there is that level of, it's the deer in the headlight look when they walk in the Phoenix rooms or some other event. What do I do? Anybody?
In my utopia, a student would know what Imperial does prior to approaching me and have a target list of companies that, hey, I noticed online that you do this. I noticed you also would consider a supply chain or a marketing student. Can you tell me more about that? I mean, we don't sell butter. Like if you've seen the Imperial butter, I can't tell you.
It's good butter, though.
It is good butter. We do not sell butter.
I'm a little opposite than that. I encourage anybody to step up, and I'll tell you about Ameriprise because it really is. People think Ameriprise Financial. Well, it's a Fortune 500 company. It's just huge financial. Well, Green Bay's a little bit different.
And there is certainly a career fair is there for you to network and learn about employers. Any of us, of course, are willing to share with you more details about what our organizations do. But there's a maturity level too in the way that you approach someone who has taken 4 hours out of their workday to stand at a booth. And if you have certain companies that you're interested in applying with, my utopia as an HR professional would be that someone is engaged in that conversation and wanting to have that conversation.
I'm not in HR, so I'm like, I don't have a HR.
You don't have a HR?
Yeah, I'm the only one here that's not in HR. My favorite person is the person that walks up to me, and this happened yesterday. I was at St. Norbert, and they said, "Can I have a T-shirt?" They just literally came and asked for it. And I'm like, absolutely you can, because I'm in sales and I want somebody that's going to ask for it, right? So I'll just love the person that's going to come up super outgoing and just engage with me and have a conversation. Same thing goes like with the resumes. The HR Utopia resumes, my favorite thing on a resume is a phone number, because it means I can call you. And I just want to have a conversation with you, and everything else from there on out, I can validate your resume and I can talk to you about those things, but I want to make sure that you can have a conversation. And that's our whole goal at the career fairs, is to give away some really cool t-shirts and to have a lot of really good conversations. So if you have the ability just to walk up and say hello, that's what means the most. And then my favorite people are the people that come back the next semester and they just say hi again, and then the next year and they say hi again. And even if, and this has happened to me here on campus, for 4 straight years, same gentleman came up and said hello every time. And I knew I wasn't going to hire him, and he knew he didn't want to work for us. He was the wrong fit. But we knew each other very well just from career fairs and in passing. And we stay in contact, and he asked for help here and there on different projects, or if he needed a connection to another potential employer. But just make those connections. That's what you're there for. Just walk up and say hello.
You can tell he's in sales.
Yeah, I was took the words out of my mouth.
I think that was that relationship that you developed, and you knew that it's not the fit, but if you knew that maybe it was a good fit for Katie,
Yep.
she's going to pull Katie aside. He's going to pull Katie aside and say, "Hey, Katie, that's one for you right there."
Yep.
That happens.
Yes.
It does.
Oh, it
Absolutely.
happens.
All the
Think
time.
about like public
All the time.
accounting, even for example. Like we're in private accounting, and a lot of our accountants like the public accounting experience before they get into a full-time accounting role. I'll have Schenk contact me, or somebody be like, "Hey, I have this person that's more interested in private accounting or corporate accounting." Oh, perfect. Okay, so yeah, if that's definitely
Did you
there.
know that happens This is a close network. They see people all the time at these events if they do regional or the same schools. Correct. Okay.
And just to add to kind of what Jordan was saying and everybody else has been saying, remember this when you go to the career fair. We have all been in your shoes. So do not be afraid to walk up to us because, like I said, we've all been in your shoes. We've all done it before. We know how nerve-wracking it can be to put yourself out there and network. And people, college students hate the word networking and like all this stuff. But really, it's we're all here because we have all done this before. We know we've been in your shoes. We know what you're going through from a nervous standpoint. So don't be nervous. Come up to one of these. Okay, I won't be there because I like to send our alum, so that's why. But Val, she's been there every year for the past, I don't know how many years. One of our representatives, Val, she works on my team with me. She will be there. Come up to us. We'll be your first ones, just so that you can get it out of the way too. I mean, even if it's not a fit, you know it's not a fit right off the bat, like Jordan's saying. Break the ice by just coming up to one of our booths first. I mean, you can do that. That is okay. Or go get a T-shirt from Jordan.
Hot dog on it.
The other thing I'd say too, you saw for the first time, and we probably should have stated this at the beginning. You saw this for the first time that we had different answers. Just know that we are 5 of several employers, hundreds of employers, thousands of employers out there. This is our personal, this is our opinions. This is our, personal opinions. This is our, as an HR professional or a sales professional, these are our opinions. And everyone might be a little bit different. So just take that, and understand that when you're coming to the career fairs, when you're applying for internships, when you're looking for opportunities, not every employer is the same. They might have different opinions or different changes or prefers different things on resumes or interview answers. But just know that off the bat that, we're all different.
But I would say to add that most of them want good conversation, professional interaction, right? That's a core.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, every majority of what we talked about is all the same.
Okay, we're coming up on 45 minutes. Got another question here, and then we'll see if there's any final questions, or if Patty or myself wanted the final one, and then we'll let you kind of mix and mingle. Okay? Go ahead.
How much do you guys look at like LinkedIn profiles, Facebook profiles, or social media before you interview anybody? Are those really of any importance to you guys?
Not at all.
I usually will look at LinkedIn.
Hype about that.
I'll just look at LinkedIn. It might not necessarily be before. I'm not scouring your LinkedIn to be like, oh, it's more so just kind of, taking a look, see at some of the different, you can't fit everything on your resume, so maybe that there's more on LinkedIn. I know one of my colleagues, she will pull up the LinkedIn and pull your picture up, so when she's talking to you over the phone, she feels like she's having a face-to-face conversation. I don't usually do that, but some people do. So, yeah.
I would say I use it more LinkedIn specifically for professional roles because it's amazing how many times there's no gaps in employment on a resume and there's gaps in employment on LinkedIn. So other than for those types of purposes.
We don't make hiring decisions based off of those things. We can't, that's a legal policy of ours that we don't make hiring decisions. But that being said, I would highly, highly, highly suggest to keep those platforms professional. We do understand that they are personal. Social media is a very personal thing. I manage all content for our social media for Schneider from an office shop and warehouse perspective. So we do a lot of recruiting off of social media. So I would just, make sure to stay as professional as possible. Your interactions that you have with our recruiters. I'm not going to bring up the instance that we had last year. I had to work with a student, unfortunately, that had different opinions based upon our hiring needs and things like that, and we worked through that. But don't let that personally affect you and come across in your statements on your social media pages, whether it be LinkedIn messages or Facebook posts or whatever it may be, because that can come back to bite you.
Yes. That I will definitely agree with.
That can come back to bite you, maybe not by Schneider, but maybe through another route. So just be aware, and be cognizant of how you're speaking to companies.
What we look for if we're gonna, judge anybody on their content is going to be what you're saying about Ameriprise. As far as what you do on Friday night, as long as you're good to go Monday morning, we're fine. We're pretty flexible, you know. But when you bring the company into your conversation, that's what can get you into trouble.
Yeah, we don't really look at it too much. I mean, maybe to make sure we know what your face is, so that way when you come to the building, we can create you and not like keep you locked out. But our sales reps use Facebook to interact with their customers. So I think it's important that, you know, it stays fairly professional, but at the same time, it's a platform for you to express yourself, and you don't want to lose that portion of it. I will say, since more mothers have joined Facebook, the content has got cleaner, so you don't really have to worry about that as much.
Pinterest.
But I think that's kind of a good rule to keep in mind. If whatever you posted,
Facebook
would you
is, like,
feel
the
good about your
fifth
mom seeing it
most
or not? You
popular
know.
one anyway at this
But
point.
I think that it's your content and you own it, and you know, just I guess.
But it
keep
is
that
a
in
part
mind.
of we do brand training as a part of our 12th weeks.
Exactly.
And it is a part of your brand. And
Yep.
you have the right to perceive and judge people as a result of the interactions that you have with them, as do employers. So
Our associates have a social media policy. We have at Schneider a social media policy out there and guidelines for our associates to read and adhere to. And we, we do the personal branding piece. We do a brand standards, brand communication standards, media policy, information disclosure to all of our associates. So that's all out there.
You Snapchat, it disappears.
24 hours.
Seriously, right? I mean, no
We use
employer is
Snapchat.
looking at that.
Oh.
That's true. You can. That
Says
is
the
true.
salesperson.
I'm just saying.